You're passing the torch on to this new generation
Yeah,
that's
I don't
doing
know if
such
I
a
have
good
a
job.
torch to pass necessarily, but I'm definitely co-signing for sure.
On this movie, it was actually really refreshing to watch because I feel like we haven't had a movie in this genre that just goes for it and just is fun and feels natural in such a long time. And it really rests on the chemistry of this entire cast, especially you two. So I have to know, what were your first impressions of each other?
Ooh, that would have been at the chem read. I had an in-person chemistry read, and yeah, I feel like I kind of knew from the very start that well, I didn't know if I was gonna get it, but I was like, oh, I think this kid's probably gonna get Moose. And then I was just trying to fight to be the AJ to that Moose, but yeah, I think right off the bat it worked out. We were just
It clicked immediately.
yeah.
Yeah. I think leaving that, I think I left feeling pretty good that it was going to be you and me.
Yeah, it's just the banter. We were like just pushing each other in the callback.
It brought me back to a time when like my brothers used to do that, where they would just like start hitting each other for no reason, and it doesn't mean that you're fighting, but like you just do it.
Yeah.
You guys did it so it was so much fun to watch. But were there ever any mishaps or anything?
When I hit you in the face.
Yeah, you hit me. You hit me in the face, like in the face, in the ear, something like that.
It was not scripted. It was supposed to be. I was supposed to try to hit him, and he was supposed to block me. And like, I guess I was just in it, and I did it, and he blocked me, and then I took my other hand and just went boom out of no, and I was like, oh,
like they instinctually had to get the shot in.
But you guys are going a little too
I
method.
wanted to keep going. I wanted to use it, but people stopped, and
and everyone was like, Gabe, are you okay? And I was like, I'm so sorry. And Gabe
I was like, no. I was like, let's use it, man.
yeah, hit me again, hit me again. And I was like, okay.
Nick, you've done a bunch of these type that I've loved, being Charlie and Kings of Summer and stuff. But what is it about this type of story that makes you want to be a part of it?
I think for this one it was Adam, really. He has such a distinct voice, and reading this script, it felt like just entering into a fully formed world. I mean, his writing style is really funny. It's sort of written to music, so there are the song cues are integrated and all the slang, and it just felt like this is like a world and a point of view that this person really knows. And like you said, I'd been a part of some coming of age stuff before, and this had that kind of feeling to it. Specifically, Kings of Summer. Like, we shot that in a small town, and with a small budget, and it just was a really special experience for me. So it kind of was fun to revisit that storyline a little bit older now, and be the old guy on set.
Yeah, it's like you're passing the torch on to this new generation.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
doing
know if
such
I
a
have a
good job.
torch to pass necessarily, but I'm definitely co-signing for sure.
And Mika, I loved your character because oftentimes that character, especially in the movies that did take place in the 90s, were so one-dimensional and just there to cause trouble between people. But your character had, even though you're not on screen, like the whole movie had so much still fleshed out that I don't think we would normally get. What was your favorite thing about bringing her to life?
So Brooke was one of the few characters that wasn't like based on a actual like living person. In Adam's life, she was kind of just a inspired by different girls that Adam met over his life, and so I think I had a lot of freedom to kind of like explore the character in that way. I really did enjoy and like make a point of humanizing her, because I think on first read you can kind of let her fall into that trap of just being like the girl that shakes everything up.
There's so many different messages you can take from this movie, especially I feel like depending on what age you kind of watch it at. But for me, I realized I'm a military kid, so I related to Brooke's character, and you kind of realize that people can be in your life for a short amount of time, but have an impact more than maybe some people you've known your whole life. I'm just curious for each of you, is there a person like that you've come across, or even in this career that you're in? You work with crews, you work with actors for like 3 or 4 months, and then you may not see them again, but they may have taught you something. Can you think of anything?
Oh yeah, every set there are significant characters that you learn from in incredible ways.
In terms of sets, I think being so kind of new out here for me, and working on some shows for even just a couple days, the people I met on that were so huge for me, right? Like even just like LaMonica Garrett, like he did Terminalist with me. Like he'll probably be like, you remember? Like we just had like a lunch one day, and he told me so many cool things, and people who played my parents. Yeah, I think little moments like that really stick with me.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. I do feel like Brooke and I are similar in that way. Where like I've been doing this since I was 6. I'm so used to like traveling and working with people, and then feeling like they're my best friend on the planet, and like they're such an important part of my life. And then they live in Vancouver, and then you just don't see them ever. These like small, quick relationships that we have with people over a summer, on a vacation, working for 3 months somewhere. Those can be some of the most formative relationships that you have.
And like I said, this movie kind of gets you right at the end and gives you that emotional gut punch you're maybe not expecting, but it lingers with you. Is there a movie that you've seen throughout your life that maybe has that kind of impact on you?
That's a really good question.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many movies. I think movies are such a fun thing. They do stay with you. They are kind of like friends in your life in some ways. I think of Stand By Me, and I think of like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It's a 2 that I watched a lot. It's a memory. You remember where you were when you first watched it, and sort of how you've changed over the years. So, you know, hopefully there's a kid in Nebraska City, Nebraska somewhere that Snack Shack can be their version of that.
I remember I watched Titanic so many times. Me and one of my friends were like so obsessed with it when we were kids. And like I watched it so many times, and I guess I just never got the ending, maybe because I was like 8. And I remember one time I watched it when I was like 12, and I finally understood what happens at the end. And I ran up to my room and was like sobbing into my pillow, like kicking and screaming, like freaking out.
And Gabe, you've now done so many, I feel like, I hate calling the 90s a period piece, but like you've done the 50s, you're doing the 70s now with the SNL movie, and you've now done the 90s. Where are you going to go next? Like, what is that kind of time period you would love to jump into?
I have no idea, and I have no control over that. I will wait for the next script to be right for me. And it could
What
be.
if you had a wish list, you know?
I had a wish list.
You gotta hit 60s. You just gotta check them
Oh
out.
God, yeah,
Okay.
60s. 40s would be super cool. A Western, like in the 1800s.
Okay.
With that would be cool.